Welcome back to This Week in Agribusiness. Well, we've been offering here on the broadcast some ideas for holiday gift giving. Mr. Colby rises to the occasion every year, but I want to circle back and talk about some things, especially for those of you who love tractors. And that includes so many of you in our This Week in Agribusiness audience. Respected author and photographer Lee Klancher joins us here to talk about some of the offerings from his shop, Octane Press. The website, octanepress.com. Wanted to get that right out there at the outset, Lee. We should point out, while much of your fame has been built around red tractors and red combines, red equipment, you have a green book this year.
I do. As you like to say, I'm bipartisan, Max. So absolutely, we got a new book on John Deere. It's been 10 years in the works, and we did a lot of digging. And I think people that enjoy the red books will also enjoy this one because there's so much of the same kind of things. Lots of stories from engineers about how these machines came to be, behind the scenes things you wouldn't read anywhere else. And of course, beautiful photography. That's something I always work hard on.
Your photography, of course, is a hallmark of your work, but I think all of us who have had Lee Klancher books and take pride in ownership of them and displaying them, as many of us do, also respect the editorial content. You do extensive research in your books.
Absolutely. And one of the things I really believe is the books need to be fresh. They need to have something you haven't read elsewhere. So in this book, for example, you'll learn about the rotary engine Deere project, a project they did in the 80s. They actually bought the Wankel engine and built a running prototype. And the engineers who did that told us that story. It's terrific. We also have some really fun stuff if you're a red enthusiast. If you remember, there was a harvester salesman who snuck into the introduction of one of John Deere's tractors done down at the Superdome. He told his story in Red Four-Wheel Drive Tractors. The John Deere guys came back for this book, came to us and said, hey, we were there, and told the John Deere side of the story, which is also very funny and entertaining. Just the kind of shenanigans that went on in the competition between red and green. So this book will give you perspective on that battle between those two makers.
In that period of such intense competition, which of course exists yet today among tractor equipment companies, they would do some interesting things. I mean, they'd move equipment under tarps, they'd move them under the cover of darkness, they would go into remote areas of the country if they could, as I recall, to try to keep secret that next product that was going to be coming out there. And I know you've captured a lot of that in your books. Help me understand, is this about the same size as the books on international harvester equipment, same dimensions and weight?
It is. It's, in fact, I have a copy here. It is a little bit taller and a little bit narrower. So it's a slightly different trim. Page count is the same. It's 350 pages. It's another 7-pound beast for people to get a workout.
I tell people they have to be careful with it. I mean, if you take that to bed and you're lying there looking up at it and you start to drift off, you could get hurt with that thing. It's a wonderful volume and people really enjoy it. I would be remiss if I didn't point out, though, that you also have addressed the Caterpillar brand in some of your work.
Absolutely. That's something we've been working on for a while, and we have a Caterpillar calendar this year. We also have a new Caterpillar coloring book for people that like those machines. And that's one of the really cool things Caterpillar has is these prototype drawings that they've saved in their archives. And they have a wonderful archive, and their archivist is fabulous. And he showed me some of these a few years back. So the coloring book, actually the last few drawings are from the future, and they're just fantastic. So I think for that particular book, if you really love cat equipment or you love seeing prototypes and interesting things, it's really a neat, detailed book.
You have many other books as well for the, quote, gearheads, if I may call them that. But I want to point out quickly, too, that you and your crew were at the Half Century of Progress back in the summer and produced the Half Century of Progress video this year. It's a very fine product.
We did. And that, I have to say, on a personal level, that was just a fantastic project. To do storytelling in a video form we had just a fantastic crew, really talented videographers. not my bag. I can take a still photo, but video is another thing. And working on that and trying to capture some of the drama and the stories around that was really, really enjoyable. And I really think in the half century DVD, the stories that came out from people about how the show came to be and how things kind of evolved. There's just some great stories that if you love that show, in addition to seeing the equipment working, you're going to learn some great stories about behind the scenes of the show.
There are great shows all over America for tractor clubs and tractor collectors, and I think folks who have their own shows can really appreciate all of the work that goes into this one in particular. All of your products, by the way, are at octanepress.com, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would like to add, we do have a new version of Red Combines this year, which is an important book. It's real nice to hold them in your hands. If you fall asleep with it, you won't break your arm, as you brought up.
We appreciate the visit as always, sir. Thank you. You'll make some of the holiday season happenings happier for some of the folks that we know. Certainly, they'll be glad to have gifts from Octane Press. Good to talk to you, Lee.
Thank you so much for having me on, Max. Always a pleasure.
Lee Klancher. His company is Octane Press, the website octanepress.com. There's more coming up on this weekend's This Week in Agribusiness.